Oh, right. So you're back from PAX. You're back in the UK, and you brought the weather with you, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't know. It was stormy in Boston. I'm not sure. I think we've got way better weather here than what we had in Boston. It was sunny for 5 minutes and hammered it down with rain for the rest of it. So maybe we traded.
Fair enough. I'm actually praying for a little bit of rain, to be fair, because I've got this like big tub, or I call it a tub. I don't know. It's what is it called when all the rain goes into a silo? Is it a silo or a water butt? That's it. Hey, I figured it out.
A water butt, yeah.
Yeah. A water butt. It's running out. And have you ever played Stardew Valley?
No, I haven't. It's on my list because apparently it's pretty good on a Steam Deck. So I'm kind of like, it's on my list of things to get into next time I'm traveling.
It's all about resource management, and this water bird is now resource management, and you're sort of going, like, come on. I'm just literally for the first time ever doing rain dances. But I appreciate the weather is hot, the weather is good. You're back. Alex Watkins. I don't know if you've jumped onto any other channels. I do apologize if you have or haven't, and to the content creators that may have got Alex on and I haven't watched it. But Alex Watkins is the conventions program manager for Legend Story Studios. Alex, what does that mean?
Yeah, good question. No, it basically means, I mean, as you know, the history of the game, like launching in 2019, and then the world kind of shut down, and we had a game that was designed to be played in the flesh and blood, right? And I think the studio, from the outside looking in at the time, because I wasn't working with them, the studio, I think, did the right thing. They focused on the players who stuck with them, who loved the game, really developed that Premier Play and the organized play platform and the Pro Tour and everything that came off the back of it. And, you know, I obviously biased, but it is the best pro circuit out there for TCGs right now. And I think the studio did a fantastic job doing that. And then the world started kind of coming back and the conventions were returning. And they said, you know, now's a good time to start getting out there and recruiting new players and bringing some fresh blood into flesh and blood, pun intended. Yeah. And that's where I came in. So I started just over a year ago with the remit of, they put a target of about 70 conventions for year one. But the idea of going out there, showing people the game, introducing them to our community, and really taking them on those first steps on that journey, that new player pathway, from coming awareness to fandom, and hopefully then into community engagement as they go further down that path. And we do that by bringing the game to as many conventions that make sense as possible.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, because we were just talking about this on the podcast when Flesh and Blood kicked in. I'm a man that came from Fantasy Flight Games when it comes to card games, right? Which is something that you know quite well, right? And seeing card games at a convention just felt normal, so normal to me, right? I saw a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, I saw a bit of Pokemon, but like I just thought, no, seriously, this just makes so much more sense. And then when Flesh and Blood was coming out, it was the first. I don't know when they started. You guys started actually really nailing it. I think it was last year, wasn't it? Where you went, we are going to
last year.
Yeah, and it feels so refreshing now to see it, right? And we're bringing this up because we got UK Games Expo coming up, right? And that to me feels just so awesome that it's not from last year. It was just really cool to see it. And this year, you're now the sponsors of the Organised Play for...
Yeah, the tournament hall, yeah.
Like, it's just so awesome. But I suppose really I just got to ask is that, like, how long, I suppose, for yourself have you been doing this sort of work? Because, like, it just feels like it's such a jump, and it's so noticeable that you're in this space. Like, what's your history?
Well, you touched on FFG in the past, and you probably know that's the studio I used to work for, more on Organised Play, but even actually before Organised Play with them with conventions. So I joined the industry like volunteering, like in late 2000s, early 2010s. But actually, kind of my first UK Games Expo was 2014.
Yeah,
and so I've been involved in the convention scene in some way or sense since then.
Yeah.
I have a lot of history with UK Games Expo. I think we discussed this actually at the show last year, that we were a bit late because we were late to announce everything, right? We didn't get the tickets up, what we were doing. We were behind because just the nature of, we'd we had a whole load of shows to plan, and we started last year, right? And with Expo, you submit your events November normally, right? Like October, November for the following year.
Yeah.
So, so this year I wanted to be ahead of it, and I thought, what better way but to be a sponsor? And it was a really kind of fortuitous conversation that kind of started as a bit of a joke, and then a meeting at Spiel in Essen. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, can I sponsor? I jokingly said my tournament hall. I said, can I sponsor my tournament hall? That'd be pretty cool. And they were like, well, we haven't done it before, but sure, let's make it work. And it was kind of a handshake, and then we figured out the details later about what that would mean. But what it does mean is anyone walking into Hall 4. So if you're not aware, UK Games Expo is kind of pivoting around. It's not Hall 1, 2, 3, and 3A anymore.
Yeah.
It's 2, 3, 3A, and 4 because there's a permanent exhibit in Hall 1 this year. So Hall 4 is the tournament hall. And now as you enter that hall, it's all branded out Flesh and Blood High Seas. And there's going to be some information there, some flyers, some welcome decks for everyone who's coming in to any tournament they happen to be going into. They're going to walk through the High Seas exposure zone, I guess is what I'm kind of calling it.
I mean, like, it's insane. Like, so I'm going to just walk through this as if you've never been to UK Games Expo before. And weirdly enough, our co-host Trip is one such person, right? That he's never been. Thank you, camera. He's never been to a UK Games Expo before. So when you go in, you're going to have a lot of variety of different games, right? And all of them are going to try to be grabbing and demanding your attention, because that is just the nature of what a convention is. If you've been to a convention before, you probably know what you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
The fact that these guys, I've been to UK Games Expo every single year, right? You've decked out the whole thing. I've been to FFG events, and you see a banner or two, right? You know, you kind of know something's on. But like the thought of this, is it kind of anything like the Pro Tour, that sort of level? Because when we came to the expo, I was like, dude, we know you're there. It's so good.
Yeah, that Excel, Trevor and the team did a great job at decking out the Excel for that. No, it won't be quite like that. We're not in the walkways. Like we're if you've ever been to the NEC, there's like an entry passageway into each of the halls. There's like the hall number above it, and you go through. It's about probably 20, 30 feet of kind of distance. And that's the zone that's all kind of decked out for you to welcome into Flesh and Blood. We've chosen the carpet color blue to be the water, right, for the High Seas, and all the graphics are going to be kind of like that as you go through. And then we then get on tournament space. So the first tournament space at the beginning of the hall, that's us. So you'll see us front and center with all the less important games behind us out of the way somewhere doing their thing.
But it's exciting. The best thing about UK Games Expo is it's the pinnacle of the Flesh and Bloody LSS's ethos of coming together to play great games. And UK Games Expo sort of is, for us as the UK community, embodies that like completely. And there are lots of other conventions on as well. But for like the granddaddy of the UK is definitely UK Games Expo. So if you've never been,
absolutely, you should go. The show has grown. Like I remember like the first year it outsold Origins back in the day, and that was a big deal. And now you kind of look at shows in Europe, the global conventions, right? Gen Con, Essen Spiel, they're the two the biggest ones across either side of the pond. You've got PAX Unplugged, which is very much kind of started to grow and is now a fantastic show. If you ever get a chance to go to Philly and do that, I recommend it. It's a really, really good show. Yeah. And really after that, when you got Cannes in France as well, which is also a big gaming show, and then UK Games Expo. But each show kind of has their own identity, whereas Spiel is all about selling. Like it's an October show. Christmas is coming up. People want to aim to launch their games at Spiel and have it in everyone's Christmas present list. Gen Con is all about playing 24/7, right? Like you don't like the gaming hall is open from 9 or 10 a.m. on Thursday all the way till 4 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah. Right there, that is like permanent gaming, and so that's a very different show to Spiel. And I always think that what Expo does, UK Games Expo does really well. It marries the two of them. You've got a really good expo. People do launch games there. It's becoming, the awards are becoming more and more prestigious. People really want to win those awards. And so you've got that con kind of Spiel vibe going on, but smaller. Although actually space-wise, it's massive. Like
Yeah.
it's not as big as Spiel, but it's actually, I think the expo hall is bigger than Gen Con, believe it or not, technically in square meterage.
Oh,
But then
really?
you got the tournament hall. Yeah. Gen Con's maxed out.
I've been to Gen Con
Um,
once, and it was
yeah,
yeah.
it,
For one, but it's one big hall. I know what you mean. Yeah. So,
yeah, exactly. And so, but they get the gaming side of it. So, like, they open up the tournament area a little bit earlier on the Friday, so people who are doing tournaments can get in, find their seat, and register before the main hall opens, and they kind of embrace that gaming side of it. And then there is like, if you go over to the Hilton at UK Games Expo, you can game all night. Like, they've got the
yeah.
big suites there open for opening gaming through the night, and the bar's open, and people have a great time. So it marries both of them into one show. Is kind of how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've never been to the UK Games Expo, it's just a huge reason to go. So I suppose really like hitting that ground is like planning for a convention, right? What are the sort of the key things that you are sort of what is the key objectives of when you're going to these conventions? What is it that you're trying to sort of achieve?
Well, number one, it's awareness and player recruitment.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any trade secret that there is player fatigue in every game, right? People do drop off. There's plenty of games I played in the past. I'm sure you have that you no longer play, and that's natural. We have the Premier Play program to try and stop that happening and create great environments. We have products coming out like Smash Palace for the more casual players and the multiplayer to keep people interested in playing in their various styles. But we still want to keep adding people to that pipeline, and we want to create a positive number, so we're adding more than we're losing each year. So that's really my goal. That's what I want to try and do. And the challenge with Flesh and Blood is that it's not a simple card game. Like, it's not the simplest card game to teach someone, especially if they've never played a TCG. But we rolled out the First Strike decks at Gen Con last year, which have made my life much easier.
Yeah.
We have they have the Crack Shovel Play coming, which now will allow us from the Mastery Pack Guardian to take players from their first exposure to their first sealed experience, right? And like take them on that journey from welcome deck to First Strike to sealed, all in one experience. So that'll be great for Gen Con and the shows after that. But really, it's about getting them hooked. What I think the First Strike decks have done, which is really useful, is it takes away a little bit of the analysis paralysis of which hero do I want to play. I found a lot of the first shows, I was listening to the staff and even myself on site, trying to just talk to people and suggest a hero when they've just played an Iro deck. And it's quite difficult to kind of, where do you go from there? Whereas with Aurora and with Terra, there's a lot of different play styles kind of within that you can kind of, did you like Terra? Okay, maybe you want a Guardian, or is it a Warrior, or is it Brute? What kind of style would you kind of move on from there? And then with Aurora, you've got Boomblade, but you've got that kind of ninja style and those fast kind of plays and a lot of go again. So you've kind of got a lot of good information to have from them to then set them off on that journey to go on and join the community, which has been really good for us.
Yes.
And hopefully is helping me bring as many people as possible into the game.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I noticed as well, and I don't know whether it's something that this question is a wait and see until you get there, but when I saw the Part the Misfail, when it came out at UK Games Expo last year, you had this really awesome learn to play experience of where the players came on and you can correct me if I'm totally wrong, like in the order of things. You get a starter blitz deck from any of the three, and then you play into different people, and then you're kind of going on a quest in that sort of, like, you play to this guy, then that will sort of upgrade into this, and then once you've done, it's like keep playing players that are also on this learn to play journey, and then you kind of like get another deck if I'm wrong. I don't know if you've got another start, and then it just builds up into, if you do this is where you end up with a bigger parcel.
That's a pretty good summary. I mean, the main thing is that we're running a new player event every afternoon, which is because you have to list events as a ticketed price. It's on the expo as a £12 event, right? The truth is, it's a buy a First Strike deck and it's free, right? So you bring your First Strike deck along. So what we want people to do is they come along, they have their play of the Iro Welcome deck. They want to do more. They have two choices. They can buy the First Strike deck straight away, or they can carry on with the Iro deck. We give them a league card, and a zone for them to sit in the tournament space and like, hey, hang out, play some games. The more, we only want you to play 3 games, because we found that people who have more than one game and actually start to see the decision points and the real intricacies of the game are more likely to carry on playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So one game isn't really enough. And honestly, at the demo area, we don't want them playing full games. We want to keep turning it over.
Yeah.
Like that's our focus is to go. We don't really want someone standing there for 3 hours playing 3 games. We want to kind of move them on, sit down, play some other people with a judge around to help. And then if they play the 3 games, they come back and they get a promo. And the promo is different depending on whether they did it with the First Strike deck or with the Welcome deck. And then they also are told, hey, come back at 3 o'clock. I think it's 2 o'clock on the Sunday. Free event. Bring that First Strike deck along, or if you buy a First Strike deck, bring that along. That's all you need to do. You're going to get some more promos. You're going to get some gem packs. We can then tell them, hey, this is what you're going to get at store level. These are the new gem packs. It's going to be season 2 at Expo, which is cool.
Oh, that's exciting.
So yeah,
so
we can say, hey, this is what you'll get at your store, and kind of take them through that first journey, and hopefully they walk away excited. That lead card on the back has a QR code of where to find their local game store, and then it's a big wide funnel, and we really just want to try and cram as many people through it and introduce them to, well, you guys, really the community, and let you take them from there, because that's the most organic pathway. Once we've given them the basics and the knowledge, is over to the community, because the community is great and they're going to embrace them wherever they go and play, and that's where we want them to kind of travel to next.
That's really exciting. So if you are coming to UK Games Expo and you've got a mate, or you probably listen to this because you've heard of Flesh and Blood, right? And you want to go and actually check out and see what do I need to do for this starter decks? There you go. Just bring it along, grab yourself a starter deck, join into the event, and just get some cool swag and learn about an amazing, awesome game. So where to find you, right? Where is this Learn to Play booth? Is it all decked out and looking shiny as ever with high C stuff?
Yeah, 100%. So you'd have seen the booth last year. It was the Mistveil deck furniture last year. We reskinned the booth. You'll see it at a Pro Tour with the hunted graphics on. So we'll have high seas graphics. They're actually the other side of my desk right now, waiting to go to the show, because it's really not that far away now. But we'll be in Hall 3A, and it's booth 514. So it's 3A 514 is the booth number. You won't miss us. We're pretty bright. The booth's pretty vibrant and lit up. But just stop by. There are plenty of people on hand to teach you to play the game, or like say if you've got a friend and maybe you've turned up to play in one of the events and you're like, hey, go learn that one. I'll come and join you with the sealed later, or in the new player event later, because we'll welcome experienced players alike to sit down and play in these new player events, right? Because that's fine. We want them to meet the players and join the community. Swing by, you'll get to learn the game. We'll have products for sale as well. We'll have high seas for sale, because obviously it's re-release weekend, so we'll have some product there. Limited, but plenty. So for people who do want to pick up some extra, it's a good opportunity. But we'll have Blitz decks and Blitz collections and First Strike decks and all the things you need to get started as well.
That's awesome. Now, let's talk about some of the stuff for the people who do know a little bit about Flesh and Blood, and they are going to come down to the UK Games Expo. And you're a seasoned player, right? It's probably most likely the people who are coming to jump on this video. What have they got to look forward to? Now, I know that we've got a Rainbow Foil Marlin and a Rainbow Foil Puffin deck, Rainbow Blitz card to look forward to. And I think that one of the things that I didn't see on the website, but that the gem packs are gem pack 2, right? What else? What else are these guys going to be like really excited?
Well, you got the ProQuest Plus, right? So you've got a PTI available. For those who don't know, that is a pretty cool invite. You can use it at your choice of next events. It doesn't have to go to the next events. You don't have to use it at Singapore or the following event. So that's pretty neat. And then the playmats and the promos and everything that go with that kit. So that's a pretty big draw for those who really want to kind of win those. Gem packs, obviously, as I mentioned, we're going to have those on site, which is the beginning of that season for those gem packs. So that's exciting. The sealed events that have all kind of been put up as sealed events, we have managed to get pre-release promos for those, so they are pre-release events. So you're going to get your pre-release promo packs for those sealed events, and we're running 4 of those throughout the weekend as well. We'll be alternating on those Marlin Puffin for those ones. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to get your hands on all of those. And I know the big hot topic of promos, which kind of caught me off guard, but I don't know why it did, because it shouldn't have done, was the the 3 promo pack for the Hunted, right? These
bro,
were the new player ones that,
bro,
yeah,
bro. Do you know that is that happened at Pro Tour, right? And I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know. I got one because I did a learn to play with Trip's wife, and we just said, I said, I'll teach you how to learn to play. Then I had to go and run off and do a battle hard, and then somehow they said, oh, I think anyway, doesn't matter. I managed to see one. I went, where do these come from? Look, these are nuts. This is nuts. Like that trial. So what? They caught you off guard. What was that? What was the plan for them? Because those cards are actually
they're really cool, aren't they? I mean, good. I think the problem
for a player that knows how to play, I'm like,
all our promos are cool. Yeah,
all your promos are cool. Yeah,
we obviously want the new player promos that we have the Cold Foil, Ether Crackers, and Hard Knuckles. So they go straight into your first strike decks, right? So the Ether Crackers can go straight into your raw deck, Hard Knuckles into Terra. So they're there for the new player thing, but we also have a second tier of new player, and these are these promos. So we use them differently at different shows. I think we're going to make these a gift for purchase at Expo. So if you spend, we'll probably set it at somewhere at £70. If you spend that, you'll get that pack of promos, right? So that's available for new players alike, existing players, because the amount of people at Pro Tour who came up trying to, like, you knew they weren't new players. And so we did end up giving a handful out on the Sunday because we had some spare, because I don't want to gatekeep, right, the promos from the community, but they were primarily there for new players for that event. And I think, I think they need to make them wider available. So we had them at PAX East the same way, so people were able to get at PAX East. And I think really what it was is they'd been at Cannes. They weren't at Cannes, but they'd been at a couple of smaller conventions in the season. But you guys aren't at those cons, right? These are the small learn to play conventions. So, they don't get seen. And then once they're at Pro Tour, suddenly it's like, oh, these promos exist.
That came out of left field, man. I was like, wait a minute. They're hot. That trot along was hot. Like that's a very well designed card. Trip went up to me and went, oh, I got these packs. And I was like, oh, that's really good. And he went, they are. And I want them. And I was like, oh. So I sold them. You can buy them off me. And that was, it's funny, isn't
it? There'll be plenty of them available, like, as the year goes on. It's a bit like with the Blazers, right? Like they were only a few events to start off with, but then they were pretty widely available after that. We'll do the same with Puffin and Marlin, right? We've got 2 this year, which is nice, so we can do a little bit more with them and alternate their use a little bit. So again, those 2 promos will debut at UK Games Expo. They'll go to Gamescom Canada later in June, and then they'll be at UK Game, and they'll be at Gen Con after that, and then start to filter into a few more shows as the year goes on. Because we want them to feel special to the people who come along to these shows. So these are, we want to make these are 3 shows where we're partners, right? We're sponsors at UK Games Expo, we're sponsors at GameCon Canada, and we're event partners at Gen Con. So we really want to do something special and make the players who come along and join us for that walk away with something special. We get the first chance to get these things.
Absolutely. And then we've also got Draft as well.
Yes.
High Seas Draft, which is actually, like, for players like us, that's just low-key awesome, right? Because having one draft every single day for just so you know, everyone, right? This is probably, and maybe you can, if you know something I don't know, Alex, but I feel like this is the most craziest pre-release for the High Seas, like, throughout the world, right? Where else is there going to be a giant convention with 3 pre-releases, a PTI event going on, all these new player stuff going, and an actual multiple pre-releases going on? And do you see what I mean? Where else in the world is it going to be like this for High Seas?
So it was interesting. So the obviously we want, like, shows land when we can't control when and convention's going to be. Like, when we're running Pro Tours and callings, we have a bit of control over that, and we can plan and we can time everything up and line it up, and that's great. Sometimes things just line up because the convention lines up, and it landed on pre-release weekend. Originally, I have to admit, I was like, I'm going to upset some stores. We're going to be running events, but stores can now run throughout the whole week. So stores do have the ability to be flexible and run multiple. Like, they are able to do way more. The timing for that was perfect, right? We've kind of changed the way pre-release windows work for stores, at the same time as us potentially doing a bit of caramelization. but I also know that the demand for the product is going to be really high.
Mhm.
So I don't envision any world where people are giving up their product at a local store to come to UK Games Expo. I'm sure they're going to do both. And
Yeah.
obviously support your local store. We 100% endorse that. But yeah, it's going to be basically a big high seas party, right? You're going to get to the first chance to draft the set alongside the stores, first time to play the set. And your first chance to get your hold on it on a box, and those treasure packs that are in the boxes, right? So, which is pretty cool.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting. If you were a player, Alex? What event would you be going? That's what I'm going to play some high seas. I've seen all this awesome stuff that this guy called Alex made. Funny enough, it's the same name as you. What are you going to play?
If I was going as a player, I'd be in the Procest Plus, 100%.
Oh, would you?
I played a lot of. I mean, I played other card games and I played them as competitively as I could. I used to grind the scene in the UK back in the day.
Yeah.
And so like I have to get my competitive itch. Nowadays I get that outside of gaming. I get my kind of competitive itch in sports and things. So I would actually honestly, maybe I wouldn't do the Procest Plus for that reason. I'd probably just want to jam the pre-releases and at least do one draft.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably end up buying way too much product because I'm pretty bad at stuff like that. But yeah, I'd want to get a muffin and a marlin, right? That would be probably make sure, because you're going to get 2 attempts at each of them, so I'd probably do one of each, right, to make that work.
There you go. That's the Alex recommendation. And as well, we've got Gravy Bones, right? The Armory deck.
Yeah, that'll be. Oh, sorry, yeah, I should say, yeah, that'll be available as well. Yes, we'll have that on site as well, so people can get the Gravy Bones deck. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There is this, like you said, is there? I don't know whether it's worth mentioning or saying it or not, but there is this big conversation going on about supply in the UK, making sure that all the stores will get it. There's going to be enough for everyone in the UK Games Expo to grab what they need to grab. I take it. As someone that's also going down as well, I'm like, oh god,
the way, I mean, kind of a peek, but the way we're going to do it for UK Games Expo, we have some product, but we also have enough product to cover all the events selling out, right? Yeah. So each day we basically get, if seats aren't sold, that product goes back into the purchasable pool, right? So we don't have a huge amount, but we have product to sell. And so even if you go Saturday and you're like, oh, we haven't actually got anything for Saturday, we may well have some on Sunday when those events fire. So it'd be worth coming back and checking out if we do end up selling out. We have a good number of products. But it is, I only have a limited supply for conventions. I get to pick which shows they go to and allocate them out. So I allocated obviously a significant amount for Expo, being that it's the launch weekend. But I have to hold some of my limited allocation back for other conventions throughout this season as well. So it's not all of my European product going to one show.
Yeah, there you go. Just in case, I know one of you in the comments is definitely going to be asking questions around that. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is just going to be absolutely exciting, really. I generally cannot wait for UK Games Expo to arrive. And honestly, I'm excited to see what you have constructed, because the last show you did was impressive. And from nothing to bam, this is here, and we met there, and the booth was all awesome. So I'm really excited to see what's been delivered for UK Games Expo.
Me too, and to say it's a great opportunity to come and give us feedback as well. I mean, we spoke last year, and you were one of a couple of people who said, if you told us earlier, we'd have been in your events, but we'd already planned other things, because it might have been you or someone else mentioned that we didn't know the events were going on. We had plans for other things. And so that's why I made a point of being like, we're going to announce ours first. I spoke to Expos like, don't you dare announce another card game until our tickets go up first. So we listen, we want to get feedback and make things as easy as possible for you guys. I'll be on site. So, so you've got a question or some things you want to talk about, or you've got a local convention that you want to get some support at. I mean, we're going to be at a few different conventions in the UK this year, including Canterbury gaming event down there as well.
Wow.
And the MCM Comic Cons, the MCM Comic Con in London is the week before UK Games Expo. So Living Realms, who we partner with for both these shows, we're down in London the weekend before. So I don't get to go to Taipei. Then I'm up in Birmingham the week after, and we'll be back in London for the other London Comic Con in October as well. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, there you go. If you didn't know about that and you're down at Comic Con, head down. absolutely exciting. Alex, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, it means a lot.
A pleasure.
Cheers, everyone.